877, really quick, 877-881-1053, Autoflex Leasing fan text, also hotline number as well. Jared from Dallas. Jared, you're on 1053 The Fan.
Yeah, guys, first time, long time. Hey, this RJ guy's an idiot. Get him off the air! What a clown! But RJ, what you said is maybe the dumbest thing that you've ever said, and that's saying something. Because you're smart enough to know that shrinking the season is not something that would ever be considered by owners or players. It's like making these rules that there's two buckets, right? You can speak realistically and actually have a conversation about something that is possible and something that could pass, or we could live in a fantasy world and say, hey, let's take 60 games out of the owner's pockets, and yeah, everything's going to be fine. Like, that's just never going to happen. Now, one thing I will say, and Bassett, I need to give Bassett credit because he is the one who brought this up to me on a Frisco Rough Riders TV game we did a few years ago, and I thought he was crazy at first, but I've really come to appreciate the idea, and now I really think it is a great idea, and it's in line with what you were saying, RJ, except instead of making it every 2 months or whatever, you just split the season into two halves. You've got playoff teams that earn spots for the first half and the second half, and you up the intensity of each game. Now it's 81-game halves. We saw last year that in 81 games, the Miami Marlins can make the playoffs. But the key for me is this. You got a team like the Baltimore Orioles. They're not making the playoffs. And you know what? It's May, whatever the date is, and they know that they're not making the playoffs. But on July, whenever we get to the 81-game mark, their fan base gets a reset, and their fan base gets a second life within the season. And I just think over the course of the 193 days in which a season is played, or 183 or whatever it is, there are more dates, if you split it into two halves, in which a fan base will be engaged and interested than over the current setup of 162 games.
Look, I suggested the split years ago, and that's fine. It's still too many games. Nobody watches the NBA. It's too many games. Now, if you want to, let's do 4 splits. Spring, early summer, late summer, fall. You do 4 splits of the season. Now you've really got urgency. 81 games is not urgency. 40 games or 30 games, 40 games would be, right? That's a quarter. Yeah, that's urgency. And I get it. They're not gonna shrink the season. That's not my problem. That's theirs. That's their problem. I'm just trying to fix the game. If you want to go, I'd rather go the EPL route. Play a Saturday, Wednesday. Let's go. You want to make it really entertaining. You want to make it really matter. Baseball would absolutely kill if all I had to watch was 1s and 2 starters and not have to worry about those craps at the back of the rotation.
Yeah, I don't disagree that fewer games would help. I live in a world where I live in like a reality world, and so that's like that would never happen. You can go watch your hypothetical nonfiction fiction Fast and the Furious movie, and maybe Vin Diesel can be the commissioner and make it like a 12-game season, but that's just not ever going to happen in real life.
It'd be entertaining if Vin Diesel made it, that's for sure.
Jared, what about moving the mound back? Because that's what you guys were going back and forth yesterday. What would that do, and why do you think that could help?
Well, when the mound was made 60 feet 6 inches back in 1893, guys threw like 75 miles an hour. Like, I don't care what anyone says about Walter Johnson. Based on science and the way that humans have evolved, there's no way Walter Johnson was throwing 100 miles an hour. He was probably throwing like 88 or something. Guys nowadays throw 100, 101, 102. If you throw 96, that's no longer considered that fast, especially out of the bullpen. If you're a starter and you're throwing 96, that's one thing. So I guess my point is, why the heck is the mound 60 feet 6 inches anyway? There's no real reason for it. And now you've got guys who are bigger, faster, stronger, throwing harder than ever before. Hitters have a different approach these days, but pitchers are also better than they've ever been. And if you move the mound back, and I don't know whether it needs to be 6 inches, a foot, 2 feet, I don't know what that number is. There are people smarter than I am who are investigating it. But when you get to that perfect number or that acceptable number, you move it back, you're going to add reaction time to the hitters, and you're going to increase offense simply because you're going to get more balls in play. And, gosh, guys, I'll tell you, I've never enjoyed a ground out to short as much as I do now because we have so many strikeouts and walks. The ball is just not in play. And getting the ball back in play would help this game tremendously. It would speed the game up because strikeouts and walks take a lot longer than a typical ball in play. But more than that, it just gives you more action, more things to see as opposed to a guy standing in the box swinging and missing. And yeah, some of it is because these guys more than ever have all or nothing approaches. But the other part is because guys are facing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and 92-mile-an-hour sliders, which are incredibly difficult to hit. So if you move the mound back a little bit, then now you increase reaction time, you increase the ability to make contact, and I think you accomplish a few of the things in which baseball is struggling to accomplish currently.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Rangers insider Jared Sandler. He can always get triggered by an RJ Choppy baseball opinion. It's very fun.